If you have a human brain that likes to tell you why you're not good enough, smart enough, competent enough, capable enough, worthy enough, lovable enough, whatever that is that it's telling you you are not enough of, and it's causing you to really get stuck in self-doubt. And because of that self-doubt, you are holding yourself back, or at the very least, feeling kind of miserable a lot of the time, then this talk is going to be for you. Self-doubt is something that hits very near and dear to my heart because it's something that I struggled with a lot for kind of a long time. And coming out the other side of it, I can tell you it is worth doing the work to overcome it because of how much more free and full and alive and connected and happy you feel, and how much more able you are to just go for the things that you want in life and just try things and experiment with things and experience things without that nagging little voice telling you why you shouldn't or you can't or you're not worthy of it or you're not good enough for it or whatever that is. So let's clear out some of those cobwebs of self-doubt so that we can clear the way forward without it, or at least without quite so much of it. If you're new here, welcome to our incredible little corner on the internet. Take a minute and introduce yourself in the comment section below. If you're back, it is always so good to have you here. Take a second and say hello as well. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, the button's about right down there. And either way, my name is Kristina, and I am a registered clinical therapist, a researcher, a coach, and the creator of my amazing life-transforming community called the Shift Society, where we are taking this work to a deeper level, learning a step-by-step mind and emotional management tool that you can use in pretty much any situation in life, anywhere. You will learn that and be supported to do this work the whole way through. And so many of you shifters are here. So many of you who watch my YouTube videos are now in the Shift Society. And so, yeah, it's always good to have you here. Take a second, identify yourself as a shifter in the comment section below. I help heart-centered humans break through the crap that is holding them back so that they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And self-doubt is one of those things that will get in your way and hold you back. It's your brain's way of trying to convince you not to step up or step into something that is new or vulnerable or involves some kind of risk or unpredictability. And that is because your brain, our brains are just so dramatic that they think that anything that doesn't have a guaranteed outcome is going to ultimately end in our death and destruction. That our human brains really are that dramatic. Now, unless you're into extreme sports or high risk behavior where there is, a higher likelihood that you could die as an outcome. Unless that is the case, most of the things that our brain tries to talk us out of, tries to convince us that we shouldn't do it, that we are not good enough to do it, that we don't have what it takes or whatever that is, they are not actually serious risks. There might be an outcome that doesn't feel good. If we don't get the outcome we want, we might not like the outcome and might feel bad, but we're not going to die from it. And so just knowing that self-doubt is one of those things that likes to show up, especially if you go to different levels, if you're the more you're kind of trying bigger things and stepping more fully into your life, whether it's going for a promotion or learning how to swim as an adult or whatever that is, where you're like, okay, trying something new, I'm going for something that there is some vulnerability or risk involved, then your brain is going to likely try to talk you out of it. And especially if you have been dealing with more shame, right? If you have this message in the back of your head that's been constantly telling you why you're not good enough, worthy enough, lovable enough, blah, 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 and that message likes to go on repeat, it's going to show up even more as you try to step into another level in your life, into something bigger in your life. So this is why it is so important to deal with the self-doubt, to stop it from holding you back. And then when it does show up, being able to move through it so that if you do muster the courage to kind of do it with the self-doubt, that you can kind of clear the self-doubt out so you don't have to feel terrible while you are doing the thing. So, how do we do this? The first thing to do to start clearing out that self-doubt is to stop comparing up. Stop looking at people that have what you want and using that as a reason to make yourself feel terrible. I can't have that. They're better than me. They have something that I don't have. What's wrong with me? Why don't I get to have that? Why did it seem to come so easy for them? And it's so hard for me. What's wrong with me? All of that crap. To stop comparing up and looking at what other people have and making yourself feel terrible about it. Let's just say stop comparing at all. If you're going to look around at what other people are doing, use it only as inspiration for what's possible. Looking around at what other people are doing to make yourself feel terrible is just making you feel terrible and discouraged and probably, preventing you from even trying it because you're like, well, I may as well not even bother because I'm not good enough for that, or I can't have that, or whatever that is. Keep your eyes on your own journey. Keep your eyes on what you are doing, the steps you are taking, the resistance you are overcoming, the challenges you are facing, the stuff you are breaking through. Focus on that. Focus on the movement you are making instead of letting what anybody else is doing be any of your business, because it's not, and it has nothing to do with you. That's their journey. That's their business. Your business is your journey, what you want and what steps you are taking to create that, to overcome the things that are holding you back from it. Usually it's just, overcoming the stuff up in here, the mind trash that is trying to hold you back. But just don't compare. It's just not helpful. This is something that I struggled with a lot for a long time. And it wasn't until it really just clicked that someone else's journey is their journey and it has nothing to do with me. And I don't even need to concern myself for a second about that. What they are doing and what they are having and what they are creating and how they are growing cannot take away from mine. It can't. So what someone else has cannot take away from what you can do and what's possible for you. It has nothing to do with it. If you didn't know about them, if you didn't know that that person who you've been jealous of, fixated on, thinking why are they so great? What do they have that I don't have? Why am I not good enough? How come they can have that? How come they've grown or achieved that or accomplished that or acquired that and I haven't, right? That person that you're obsessing about, perseverating on. If you didn't even know they existed, then what they are doing wouldn't matter. I mean, let's be honest, your brain would probably find something else to glob onto to make you feel terrible because, that's just what our human brains like to do. But if you didn't even know that that person existed, it would actually have no impact on you. The only impact they are having is in your thoughts. The next thing, similar to this, is to stop just letting your brain go rogue. Stop just letting your brain just sort of go off and come up with all of these reasons why you are not good enough, why you don't have what it takes, trying to convince you. It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. Trying to convince you of all these reasons and also just making up, well, you're not good enough because of this and you can't have this because of this and you're not lovable because of this. Just sort of making up all of this stuff and then you're feeling terrible about it. It would be like a child who was convinced there was a monster in the closet. You wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, there's totally a monster in the closet. This is awful. What are we going to do? I can't believe this, right? You would be like, okay, let's have a chat about this. Because although you think there's a monster in the closet, and you have a compelling argument as to why you think there's a monster in the closet, there's actually not a monster in the closet. That monster is just a figment of your imagination. It does not exist. It only is freaking you out because you are thinking that it is some kind of threat, but it doesn't even exist, so it can't be a threat. So stop just letting your brain go rogue and coming up with all these sort of fictitious reasons Even if you're like, well, Julia, well, I had a relationship before and it ended badly and it was really hard and it was really hurtful and that person left me. So that means that I'm unlovable. So why would I bother putting myself out there again? Because it's just going to happen again. Okay, first of all, someone choosing to not continue in a relationship with you has nothing to do with your lovability. It has to do with their thoughts about whether or not they wanted to continue a relationship with you. And that was up to them. Again, nothing to do with your lovability. And second of all, because that relationship didn't go well, it does not guarantee that the next relationship will not go well as well. You're fortune telling. You're predicting a future that is not certain. And so, again, it's a monster in the closet. It doesn't actually exist. These are not solid arguments. So really just not letting your brain go rogue and coming up with all this fictitious stuff, sitting your brain down and having a talking to and being like, listen, that happened, right? Whether or not that thing happened in the past that it's causing you to doubt yourself now, that happened, but what are you making it mean about you? And it's a made up belief that it means that you're not good enough, worthy enough, smart enough, competent enough, capable. That's just a made up thing, just like a monster in the closet is made up. It doesn't exist. Just a made up reason. And then also, what happened in the past, right? It doesn't guarantee that that thing is going to happen in the future, especially if you are learning from the past and intentionally doing something different, mindfully going about it in a different way. You're likely going to get a different outcome, which goes on nicely to the next one, is to see setbacks as opportunities to learn and grow. So if you've had circumstances, experiences, or situations in the past where things haven't gone well, you've started the business, you've tried to learn how to play guitar, you have taken up dreamcatcher weaving and it didn't go well. You're like, I tried doing a hobby, or I tried growing something, building something, creating something, and it didn't work out. What can you learn from that instead of using it as a reason to stop? Using it as a reason to learn. Why didn't that work? What was going on there? What didn't I know? What hadn't I experienced yet that would have helped me be successful? And so taking that and being like, I'm going to learn from this instead of I'm going to make myself feel like a loser because of this. What else is going to help? Is to take an inventory of your successes. Again, same with that comparison. Your brain always likes to kind of compare yourself to other people, but what they're doing and you're not doing. Your brain also likes to look at all the reasons why you're not, right? Why you don't qualify, why you're not good enough, worthy enough, competent, capable, lovable, whatever that is. Whatever that doubt that your brain is throwing at you, your brain likes to do that. It finds it easy to do that. But you need to tip the balance by actually sitting down and taking a success inventory. Looking at the times where you have wanted something, you've gone for it, and you have gotten the outcome you wanted. You've achieved it. You've accomplished it. You've had it. Thinking back to that, there's probably so many things in your life that at one time you didn't think you could do, and then you did it. But all your brain is focusing on is the times that you tried something and it didn't work out the way that you wanted it to. You didn't get the outcome, which actually doesn't mean anything. It just, like we talked about, can mean so many different things, but none of which means that you are an inferior being in some way. Just may not have the skills or the experience or the abilities or, whatever happened, something happened that has nothing to do with your worthiness as a human being. But your brain likes to focus on that. Instead of working to tip the balance, to look back at the things that have gone well, that have worked out. So maybe it is that one day you thought you would never be able to Move out on your own and support yourself. This was something that I was like, when I was a teenager, I'm like, I wonder if I'll ever be able to like have a job and like have my own apartment and support myself. Like, I don't think I'll be able to do that. And, you know, my teenage self just couldn't wrap her mind around that. And then I had that and I did that and I had a job. And then I thought, well, I'll never be able to go to school and like, after I finished my undergrad degree, because that was a bit of a disaster, I was like, I'm never going to find a career and a path that I love and do something that I'm passionate about. And then I did that. And against kind of all the odds and all the rejections from grad school, I persevered and I did it and I completed grad school and I got to get to do this work. And even though I thought I never could, I did it, right? I had a really tumultuous relationship in my early 20s and thought after that relationship ended, I'm like, I am never going to be in a relationship again. I am never going to be married. I just can't do it. I just can't even imagine it. And then I found a partner who was loving and supportive and didn't bring all of the like drama and all the other crap, and got to create and build a mutually respectful and supportive and loving relationship. And I never thought I would have that. I never thought I'd be able to have that. I never thought I would be worthy of having a healthy relationship. And now I have that. And so just really thinking about the things that you thought that you could never have, never build, never create, and then you did. And let yourself focus on that. What are the things that have gone well, that you have actively pursued, that have gone well, that you had a hand in creating, that have gone well? Take that success inventory, tip the balance to the things that are, versus always letting your brain just focus on the things that aren't. A big one for us to all realize is that good enough, feeling good enough, is not a destination. You don't get somewhere, achieve something, acquire something, accomplish something, and then all of a sudden feel good enough. It's just not the way that it works. Our circumstances don't create our thoughts and feelings, right? Our feelings are created by our thoughts, not our circumstances. And so realizing that good enough is not a destination. You're never going to arrive somewhere where you finally feel good enough, qualified enough, lovable enough, worthy enough. Good enough is a decision. It's about saying, yep, I can do this. I can work on this. I can figure this out. I can create this. I am good enough now. And yeah, there's going to be more things that I'm going to learn along the way. I'm going to gain more skills. I'm going to gain more abilities. I'm going to have deeper learning, but I am good enough to get started right now. I'm good enough to put myself out there right now. I'm good enough to try right now. It's not a destination. It's a commitment and a decision. Self-doubt only exists in your thoughts. You can come up with, if any given moment, you can come up with any list of reasons why you're not. And you can also come up with a very compelling list of reasons why you are. Our belief that we can't is a belief. It's just a thought. Our belief that we can is just a thought. It's a belief, it's just a thought. So it's deciding which one you want to think. And then redeciding you want to think that, maybe several times a day, because your brain is going to come in, at least when you start doing this work, your brain is going to try and knock down that theory time and time again. And you just have to keep reminding yourself why you are. If having a brain that likes to be obnoxious and likes to continuously tell you why you're not good enough and throw you all kinds of thoughts about why you can't is something that you struggle with, learning how to unattach from those thoughts and how to not believe and buy into those thoughts is what you will learn how to do with my 10-minute guided mindfulness exercise. So it's free. You can get it. It's in the description below. That exercise is going to be great for learning how to just not get so wrapped up in whatever thought, self-doubting or otherwise, your brain tries to throw at you and convince you to buy into. Get that download. It is simple, but really powerful. So you can grab that in the description below. Also get on the wait list for the Shift Society, my membership community, where we are taking this work to the next level and learning specific tools and strategies to be able to manage your mind and emotions in pretty much any situation, a step-by-step process for that. You learn that, plus you're supported the whole way through with the community, with me. There's so much involved in that program. It's so rich and full and life transforming, and I do not say that lightly. We focus on transforming, making the major transformations one key shift at a time. And you learn those key shifts in the Shift Society. And those key shifts add up to lasting, real, and significant transformation. So you can get more information about the Shift Society in the description below and find out when we are opening up registration again for that. Always good to be with you. Let me know how you're doing, what connected with you from this one, where you're going to start. Just start somewhere. Which one are you going to start with working on today? And until next time, take good care.